Hello, Haze Gallery. I'm Ana Nemro. I'm an artist. Welcome to my studio here in California. Thank you for having me for this interview and for sending me all of those questions. And today I'm gonna answer all of those. Well, I would say that surroundings are always detrimental for a young mind. And in my case, I would say that my surroundings have helped me to broaden my imagination. Because at that time I didn't have the internet, I didn't have a computer. So I had to be creative in order not to die of boredom and to entertain myself somehow. So I would draw and paint, and I would make costumes for my dolls, and we would run a few fashion shows a day. And sometimes I would make up stories, and some of them I would even write down. So yeah, I had a lot of creative outlet and a lot of space to create. Studio in San Francisco, it was also not very conventional because my teacher there, he didn't really teach us neither how to draw or paint. We would just come in and we would, for the first 6 weeks in the course, we would draw blindly without looking at the page. And that's what was the greatest part, I think, in that program, because that's when I realized that you don't really have to look at the page and create from your mind, and that the paintings or whatever art you make with your heart, without the filter of consciousness, is much greater than the one that you deliberately create with your mind. Okay, so I wouldn't call either of those art studies, because my first art school I attended when I was very young. I was in high school, and I didn't really know what I want to do with my life at that moment, and I was mostly going there for socializing and having fun. I wasn't really motivated to study art. So after graduating, I kind of forgot about art, and it wasn't my goal to become an artist. I've decided to study linguistics and translation, and that's what I did for 6 years after my art school. And in the university I realized that linguistics and translation also is not my thing. So I had to continue my search of myself and what I want to do with my life, and that's what I did. I tried graphic design, I tried 3D, and that didn't really stick. And then I felt like I don't really like digital art because there's no physical connection to the medium. So that's when I realized that I have to give a try to making art with physical mediums, and that's what I did. And in the studio in San Francisco, I realized that I really can feel joy during making art. That's when I realized that I'm doing something right. And why did I decide to go back to art? Well, it felt right. That's why I did. It would be unfair to compare those two educational systems that I've encountered, because the first one was aimed for very young kids who didn't really know what they want to do with their lives. And the second one was very unconventional, and it was created by an artist and aimed for other artists with some kind of experience and knowledge that they could deepen or study themselves further. It wasn't necessarily an art study, it was a study of yourself and your creativity and your expression. So where did I get more experience? Definitely in the second one, because I was much more motivated and I had my own experience that I've gained through the years prior, and that helped a lot. So yeah, I would say that for the first time I realized the immense value of abstract art and other kinds of contemporary art is when I started making it myself, and when I saw how beautifully my chaotic mind can be translated onto the page or canvas without the interaction of my consciousness. And It was probably the first time I saw my subconscious on the paper, and it was amazing and it was life-changing. And after that, I would say that I really felt the connection with abstract art that I would see in a museum and online, of course. Well, of course I knew that there are other kinds of art rather than classical art. I would say that for the first time I realized the immense value of abstract art and other kinds of contemporary art is when I started making it myself, and when I saw how beautifully my chaotic mind can be translated onto the page or canvas without the interaction of my consciousness. And it was probably the first time I saw my subconscious on the paper, and it was amazing and it was life-changing. And after that, I would say that I really felt the connection with abstract art that I would see in a museum and online, of course. Most of my work starts with me simply showing up to the page or to the canvas and picking up paint or some other medium, maybe a pencil or a charcoal, and I would start with whatever my hands are feeling like, and I would see where this takes me, and I would continue from there, and then I would see where now this is going, and I would continue again, and eventually at some point I have this feeling that I'm done, this piece is finished, and I step back and I would say that I see it for the first time. And I get to know this painting or drawing, and I would see some pieces of my mind there. It's like you see yourself in this way for the first time without any filters or your own ideas of yourself. It's the truest mirror that you can ever encounter. And that's what I aim to bring to my viewers. It's not only a mirror for myself, it's a mirror for my viewers as well. So when they look at my art, they see themselves. So my art goes through this person, through all of those emotions, and it becomes something else, something new, and it's some kind of a circle of art, in my opinion, and that's beautiful. And about the ideas, yes, some of my works start with an idea, but the great thing is I never finish them the way I intended to. And they transform a lot in the process, and they end up being really similar in the feeling, because it's also something that I see for the first time, even though I had an idea of what I want to convey on my canvas or page, whatever. So yeah. The best thing I've learned so far is accepting your work as a progression and not a perfection. Every time you create a great painting or a great piece of art, it not only consists of the mediums that you've used and maybe ideas, it also consists of little steps and little failures and little breakthrough. They all are in there, and without those small steps and failures through which you felt horrible and you hated everything, and you hated the world, yourself, your art, and you were willing to give up everything. Everything has value, and everything translates there, and it makes your art, and it makes it great, and for that I'm grateful. So yes, sometimes it doesn't feel great till this day, and before abstract art I felt even worse creating art, because I wasn't following my own instincts, I was following other people's expectations, which is the worst thing you can do. So these days I think I've learned some lessons, and it helps me to be happier with my art. My first teacher was Maria Yankovskaya, and I found her on Instagram, and I got some online classes from her. So that was the person who I learned how to draw human figure from, and I really enjoyed taking her classes. But she hasn't been my mentor per se until this year. I only got her personal mentorship this year, and it was of course invaluable, because hearing feedback from a person you admire is inspiring. Especially great feedback, and She really encouraged me to continue on a path that I'm taking and being true to myself, which is always heartwarming. My second mentor was Maria Yerohina, and I found her through Maria Yankovskaya. And I also took her online classes, quite a few of those. Some of them I took twice because I really enjoyed learning from her. And she's a great teacher, and her approach is quite unusual from everybody else because she is incredibly gentle and encouraging, and she doesn't really aim to translate her own style and her own vision to her students. She really helps to nurture their own personality in their art. She really helped me to feel better at making art, which is important, and to follow my own instincts in making art, which is also important. And my third mentor was Michael Markowitz, who is the teacher at the 23rd Street Studio in San Francisco. And I met him when I was looking for figure drawing classes, but he told me about his program, and I instantly realized that that is what I'm looking for, and boy did I find out much more than I was looking for. So thank you, Michael. Social networking is always important for everybody because we live in a society. If you mean online social networks, yes, they are important to promote yourself, but for me personally, at the moment, I find the most joy in in-person connection and finding people that really inspire you and connecting with them, creating true connections, real connections, and making friends with the people you admire, because that's what matters, really. What also matters is making art together. Not only it brings lots of joy, but it also brings lots of opportunities, and you don't really know which one of those little gigs eventually will become your golden ticket. And yeah, I'm still looking for mine. So if you have a spare golden ticket, so look me up in the DMs. If you mean online social networks, yes, they are important to promote yourself, but for me personally, at the moment, I find the most joy in in-person connection and finding people that really inspire you and connecting with them, creating true connections, real connections, and making friends with the people you admire, because that's what matters, really. What also matters is making art together. Not only it brings lots of joy, but it also brings lots of opportunities, and you don't really know which one of those little gigs eventually will become your golden ticket. And yeah, I'm still looking for mine. So if you have a spare golden ticket, so look me up in the DMs. I really love seeing the appreciation that digital art gets at the moment. Those artists really do deserve this credit, and with the invention of NFTs, that become possible, and that's great. And what I would like to see in the future, probably I would like to see digital art to blow out of the proportions in a beautiful way, and get over the world, get over the art market, and spread everywhere like a virus. And yeah, and maybe after that there will be a wave of reinvented appreciation for the physical art again, and that would be a beautiful cycle.